Hi, this is Donnie Claxton. It's day 4 of us out in the woods. This is my brother's remnants of the shack my brother once built. Sitting here on the porch, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. There's Macy. She's got a bone by our little campfire place, and she's sitting there. There is the pup tent we've been staying in the last 4 nights, and I built that little lean-to, whatever you want to call it, the other day. About wore me out just to get that done, but it kept us dry last night when the rain came through, and as you can see, I need to do some washing and hang a line and dry, and the car is sitting there ready to go. And I'm trying to figure out what to do next. I got a new tent last night, and so I'm trying to figure out where is a good place to put it. And the issue is that, if you can see, whoops, wrong way. Yeah, back up here is part of our property too, but I don't know yet how far. But as you can see, it goes up. And if you turn this way and you look, our property is dropping down. Now, the tent itself right now is on level ground. And there's a space over there on the other side that I got a rake this morning and have been clearing out and trying to see what. The other issue, besides the slope here, and the tendency to rain here quite often, is the fact that, so water's going to be coming down. Dad's been telling me if I go this way, that way, towards this treed area back in here, I'm going to come into a little tributary that runs into a creek that goes that way. But my iPhone compass and map are telling me that that is not north. It's actually telling me that I'm looking north, kind of actually that way, and that Lake Superior itself should also be that way. And if that's the case, then somewhere out that way is where the tributary to the creek should be. Now, it doesn't take much to imagine that the difference between this direction and that direction is quite crucial. And you say, well, just have a peek at some moss. Oh, so let's do that. Let's have a peek at the moss on the trees. And maybe some of you out there can help me with this. But in my mind, it's growing on that side of the tree, which is pointing what I thought was south. The sun is right there. It came up that way. And there, now you can really see that there's a ridge right in there. And then it still kind of does that. Then there's a bowl right there. And that creates a little high current area that you can tell when you're over there. It's really floods. So, there's a junk pile. What I'm thinking about doing with that is I'm actually taking some of the green limbs that I'm not going to use, and I'm just going to toss them on top of that eyesore until I can figure out if I do anything with it at all. The other thing I was trying to say about this ground here is just about every inch of it has got sand and dirt on it. But within that sand and dirt are rocks. Not like that, but they're embedded. All sizes of rock. See here, this one for instance. That makes things difficult to dig. And even putting a tent here, as you can see, there's something of a dip here, and then a rise over there. And then that area in the back there is higher than the rest. So it'd be a good place to have a tent because it's, you know, relatively under open skies. But yeah, so what I'm thinking, and I apologize for the crazy angles, but doing the best I can. I'll start doing some tripod stuff shortly. But oh, I was showing you moss. So you know, here is another rock embedded next to a tree. And this, if you go by that thing that there's, it grows on the north side, that would be this one. And I'm thinking north actually is probably that way. But then if that's the case, here's a tree. If north is that way, the moss is growing on the eastern side. And then, okay, and then here you go. Here's a dead tree, decaying tree. And where's the moss growing on it? Almost 360 degrees. At least from here to around about there is where I see green moss. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to go make another expenditure, which I'm trying not to do. And by the way, if you want to help, you can find Donald J. Claxton on Venmo, and I also have paypal.me, Donald J. Claxton. I need desperately a couple solar panels, probably about 1,000 watt solar panel, and a 5,000 watt, 100 watt panel, 500 watt distribution generator, whatever it that the thing connects to. There's also some other things, just some tools that I need. I'm really thinking the best way to get rid of a lot of this in here, particularly this grass. I sprayed it with Roundup the other day and didn't do a darn thing. I need to put down some more, but I haven't yet. And so anything you could do that could go toward this survival fund, if you will. There's people saying I'm not going to make it a week out here, which I'm on day 4.5 now. So I'm feeling pretty good. Trying to figure this out. A little late in life to be doing it, and the odds are against me in so many ways. I won't go into those now, but I need some help. I need some tools. I've got a list. You can go to my Amazon wish list for Donnie Claxton. There's some things that are already posted there. But I'm looking to, if I'm going to put some kind of a little bit of something right here, even just in the way of a wooden platform, to put some kind of little, I dare to say house, not even close, or a log cabin, but it's probably going to be made with logs. What I would do is I'm thinking about getting some wire rope and making a ladder so that I can run a cable with wire rope from that tree straight across to the one behind the small one, nice and high, big. Or worse, I could go to that one back there, preferably to this one, and it'd be about 10 feet high for now, and then putting a pulley and chain system across on it so that I can move stuff this way and pull and lift to varying heights and to get it level and situated, so that I can start taking some of the smaller stuff that's got maybe a 5 to 8 inch diameter, getting it stripped, and then getting it ready to go for supports here, and just build a little modular something to get me off the ground, so I'm not worrying about the water problem at all going forward. So that's that one that way. And then there's this tree here conveniently, and no, not that one, this one right here. and it can connect to that one. So I'd have cross ties, and I could get things up. But even as I think about that now, I actually need something further that's be back here more. So there's that one right there. Look how straight and tall and beautiful that one is. So I could hook onto that one and come across, and then looks like that one right there would be the one with a rope chain and a pulley coming this way, backwards and forwards, as well as so I could build me a little bit of a platform here to be able to get up off the ground, get my belongings up off the ground. And I mean, we're not talking a very big deal, maybe 12 feet by, and see, I got this tree here in the way, tree stump. So it might have to be longer and then shorter across. So maybe 15 feet this way and maybe 10 foot across. I haven't measured yet, but that's looking right. Maybe 12 feet across. And so it'd be 15 by 10. And within this confines, I could build a raised floor. I could also put in the ramp that for now, it looks like I'm needing less and less each day. But Macy's having a hard time. She's gotten a little big. She's at 136 pounds last week at the 2 weeks ago. Last week, before we left Dallas. And getting her up into the back end of the car, she can't do by herself anymore. She's getting better at it. I lift her up and then grab the back end of her and lift it up, and she kind of oomps forward and she gets in. Not something good for my back, and not something that she can do when she wants to jump down. So my thought was to build like a 2.5 foot high thing that I could back up to, actually at an angle here. So it'd be have a point here, and then go out long wise, and then the run would be from whatever point to here, which when I got back with her, I could just come back to here, stop. There actually be almost contact between the back of the car and the platform, and then just put a little ramp wide enough for her, maybe 2.5 foot wide, down with a short enough run so it's not strenuous for her to come down. And yeah, and so I'm looking at taking some of the smaller stuff out of here. It actually, from what I've seen from a couple guys on YouTube who do this, Justin Timber for one, says that if you take some of the smaller stuff out, it's actually better for the big trees, because the smaller stuff that's sprouting up right next to them, while it is living and beautiful, is actually depleting the bigger trees of the energy and the resources they need around them for which to grow. And so that's what I'm considering doing on this, and I don't know what the heck all that mess is. Listen, we have a squirrel, and Macy's lit to it now too. We have a squirrel and a chipmunk who come to visit, and they may very well live in all that metal crap, but they're coming to visit, and this is the first time Macy's ever been sitting over here when they've come around. And so it's going to be interesting. She hasn't chased any of them. And for Great Pyrenees, for those of you who own Great Pyrenees, you're not going to believe this, but since we left Dallas last week, that little dog right there, oops, that dog right there has not barked a single time. I know, it's just amazing. I can't believe it myself. And see if I can, yeah. Can you do a screenshot while you're also shooting? Not with your hand over the camera, huh? Let's try it this way. And let's get Macy in the shot. Yeah, no. Someday when I have time to go back and edit this stuff out, I will. But for the right now, I feel it's better just to give you the rough, raw straight story, because this is not easy. There are some incredible challenges here. There's challenges for my back, and but I'm having the time of my life. I am also gathering information because I've written a novel about 4 boys who grow up in the woods of Upper Michigan near K.I. Sawyer Air Force Base in 1977. And they build a tree house out in the woods, much like these, just off the base. And what they don't know and what they find out is that they have built their tree house next to the secret hideaway of a Soviet spy. And so I am gathering, while I'm out here doing this my own self, I'm gathering material to go back and do the next revision to the book with real life experience of what it takes to be out in the woods and by yourself. Of course, they had the 4 of them to do it, but I'm getting reacquainted with the sounds of the birds and the joyous sound that the trees make when the leaves start. And you can hear this wondrous rush that starts off in the background here, way up. And you can hear it like a wave coming. And then it comes, and then it's on top of all the trees on top of you here. And then it just fades off into the distance, and it's truly a beautiful thing when it happens. The other night, I guess it was night 3, another thing that was weird that happened was it sounded like 2 guys had baseball bats, and they had the rapidity to hit each other with the baseball bats of each other like they were playing with drumsticks. And it was so loud, tremendously loud. And I got worried. It was 2, 3 in the morning, and it was and it kept getting louder. And finally, I was just like, what I was doing was on the car, clicking the lock button once on the clicker to turn on the headlights and the tail lights, so that if anything was coming, that might scare them off. And the noise was coming closer, coming closer, coming closer, and I did that, and it kind of kept coming closer, and I did a couple more times, and then the noise started moving back away from us. So that was a little spooky. The first night, I felt like we were greeted out here, officially greeted by the neighborhood owl. And he very distinctly, for about 20, 30 minutes, kept crying, "Hoo!" And what I did not realize about owls is that when they hoo, you know, people have always written WHO, WHO, WHO in quotations for them speaking. But by golly, that's really what it sounds like. I mean, it sounds like a human voice saying the word who. And yeah, it was really pretty real. There are supposedly bears out here with us. Maybe some coyote. I haven't heard any. We've got our chipmunks and our squirrel. And there may be, I remember 3rd or 4th grade that the newspaper, I don't know if it was the one in Marquette or the one on base, did a story about how the wolf population had almost become extinct in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And at the time, in the mid-70s or something, they were releasing, I think it was 7 or 8 wolves into, and maybe it was Marquette County, maybe it was the UP, but they were turning them loose. And now that population is a little bit more sparse. So I haven't had any evidence of them, bears, or much of anything except for young bucks. Sorry, brain stop. Young bucks going at it in the middle of the night with their horns. And my gosh, that was something. So there goes the wind now. You see, there are no noises out here from the cars. Occasionally, like once or twice a day, we'll hear an airplane fly by. The rest of it is just the sound of the wind and the trees. And the birds. And what noise I make and Macy makes. And I couldn't be happier. This is absolutely wonderful. So I'm asking you, you know, I've kind of walked around with this, and maybe it's not the best quality of video, but right now we're not in the established stage. We're in the stage of setting things up where everything is as primitive and primal as I'm focused on food, water, shelter, and air. I've got my little tent here, as messy and crazy as this looks with my tubs. This is kind of like a triage center, like a MASH hospital, if you will, or just a one-day, couple-day deal for being out here. This is not a permanent anything, not designed to be. The grass is overgrown. The trail to come out here is in some places 2.5, 3 feet high. One of the best lessons I've come across so far, or realizations, and I called my eldest daughter Chandler in Dallas, and I said, I wanted you to be able to hear this first, because you're really not going to believe you're going to hear me say this. Chandler's rather environmental and all, but I said, I cannot believe how much everything revolves around plastic. Almost 98% of what we've brought out here is in some way encapsulated in plastic. And if you look at Sorella Moore's latest videos, she's talking about how the whole recycled plastic bit is just a myth that was created in the 1960s because of public hue and outcry. And so they started this whole recycling campaign, and they really can't recycle it because there's nothing else they can do with it. They can't melt it down and create new plastics, as simply as that might sound to do. So yeah, I as someone not traditionally a tree hugger, it's kind of disconcerting to have noticed how much of what we have brought out here just to get set up is made out of plastic. So take that for what it's worth. 2 cents or 50 cents or $5, and you can get a cup of coffee with it. But yeah, so it's the middle of day 5, actually 2/27/28, and I've got to go into Dallas. I've got to go into town and get some more supplies to get us by through the night. And I got to figure out where in the heck to put this new tent and how. And I want to thank you. Please do consider supporting this channel, supporting me. I'm doing this here on YouTube. You can make contributions through Venmo to Donald J. Claxton. PayPal.me /Donald J. Claxton. Anything you can do to help support me until I get enough subscribers together and view hours together to be able to monetize what I'm doing out here, but I'm really trying to do some work to get back to living off the land, or get to living off the land, being self-reliant, being somewhat stabilized. And if nothing else, I clean up our family's land and keep it in good shape and ready for the next time it's time to harvest some of these trees. And as you can see, there's some real whoppers out there. This one here, that one there, that one there, that one's leaning and already dead. So it really needs to come down so that there's space and room, and by golly, that makes some good firewood. So the property here is some 40 acres, and it's all like this, all woods. And there's a creek, like I said, a tributary, and somewhere when I was a kid, we came across a couple natural springs bubbling up out of the earth, and they were wonderfully beautiful. So I'm looking forward to finding those again too. But right now I got to figure out which darn direction is which. And also conflating the problem, I think, is the fact that all the ground underneath me is pretty much iron ore. So I'm not sure how much that is impacting the compasses on the phone. And I don't think it's doing anything but triangulating between towers anyway, which there aren't a lot of. And even at the best of times here at this place, I've got 1-2 bars at most using AT&T. So if anybody from AT&T is watching and you've got some kind of an amplifier that would help out where you got 1-2 bars, I'd like to know about that too. You can put it down in the comments. If you've seen something I'm doing wrong, or could do better, or you've got some ideas or suggestions, please make them in the comments below. Please click and like and subscribe. And if you feel so inclined to give some help as I work to take on the next things, one of the things I really think I'm ought to get is just a weed eater, a gas-powered weed eater, and just go through all of this growth here. My dad and I brought my daughters up here in 2012, and all that out in there was pretty much flattened. Not level, but you know, there wasn't covered in weeds and ferns and grasses. And sometimes I wonder if some of the stuff out there isn't poison ivy. There's leaves of 3 and the heads on them, and then there's the 2 offshoots, but then a layer lower there's 2 more offshoots. And for it to be poison ivy, it's supposed to be the head and then the 2 offshoots, and they all combine at one spot on the stem. And so I'm thinking, leaning and going forward with them not being poison ivy, because that would not be good. But I actually have a funny scene in the Voodoo Hill Explorer Club, which is my coming book, about being up here in the woods, where the boys sit down in a patch of poison ivy and realize it too late as they're picnicking for lunch. And you're not going to believe the solution that one of them comes up with, one who's very much steeped in the mystery of the Chippewa Indians who lived around here. And I am not far from the Hiawatha Forest, the famous Michigan, Upper Michigan Hiawatha Forest. And so I'm kind of out here where if he had ever existed, he would have been. And the Chippewa were out here, and this was their land at one point in time. So I often like to pay tribute to their time here, the things we can learn from them, and then how that poem really brought the area of this region, if you will, to popularity through his writings. So I think I'm going to stop now. Apologize for the ums. If there are too many, just tell me there's too many. I'm really just making this one up as I go along, because like I said, This is just in setup. You've landed in a crisis area. What do you do first? You got to set up food, water, shelter. And those are some difficult things right now. I have sent a request to Jackery asking them for some help with a solar panel and a charging unit. I have sleep apnea. So to say that I've been sleeping well would be a misnomer, but that's in part too been escalated by the size of this ridiculous tent. And I need some help breathing at night so that I'm not storing and tossing and turning and staying awake all night when I stop breathing. So if you have connections to Jackery, please tell them to look at this video. Ask them to look at this video, rather. I've made the request. I've asked them politely and nicely and say that I will speak to no end of how great they are. And I'm even doing that right now when they're not sponsoring this video. So I'm working on getting to the point where I can sit down for a while and write a couple posts for medium.com. That's the other place I write regularly. Donald, you can go to medium.com. If you find my page for Donald J. Claxton, you can see the 70 articles, stories that I already have up, some of them explaining why I'm here. And it will also feather you out to my other places around the web, including donaldjclaxton.com. And my links for @DonaldJClaxton on Twitter. I think I have the same one as well on Instagram. And if there's some place on the web that's got some social media ties to it, you can probably find me now. I've done a rebranding over the past couple of years, so you'll find it at Donald J. Claxton something. So thank you for watching this video. Once I can get set up and things calm down a little bit, I'll be able to add some music and from one of the sites I use, and vastly improves the quality of these. But like I said, we're doing the real thing, and I'm trying to keep it real for right now. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, say hello, make your comments, keep them kind and nice, and let's have a great time. And I'll see you probably tomorrow when I post another one of these videos. Thank you.